All right. So I'm live streaming this, but I will also be recording this and posting on YouTube later. So one of the videos I recently posted about Unity Game Creator 2 and easy build system, I got more than 50 messages on Discord, and well, let's turn this a bit down. Can you hear the music even? Just gonna hang on 1 second. There will be more than 50 messages on Discord, and yes, now you can definitely hear myself. Feedback loop is great. There we go. Got some music in the background. It's nice. Just keep it very low. Alright, so we got a lot of messages about how it was actually achieved. And to be honest, it's not integrated together. There are two things to remember. Game Creator 2 is still in beta, so that's not really... It's working fine. I haven't found any bugs that prevent me from using it or any game-breaking issues when I use the asset. However, Easy Build System 2 is a excellent asset. For sure it has its challenges, let's call it that. But after some while I got it working, and I won't go through a how-to guide how to integrate these. But based on the previous video called GC2 and EBS, I will show you how I am using it right now. Please remember, I'm not an educated coder or programmer, so take my advice with a grain of salt. I make a lot of mistakes, and I probably spend more time fixing my own mistakes than actually spending on developing. So I will just remove my face from the video, and then we'll jump into Unity and have a go at what I already got going. Oh, let's see. There we go. Let's just hide webcam. Oh, yeah, about the transitions. I haven't streamed for, I guess, over a year now. So anyway, here we got the project, which I was showing recently on a few videos. So basically, it's just a prototype. It's not meant to be a game. The idea is you are this guy, you're a hotel manager, and the goal is to achieve attractiveness to your hotel and increase the amount of visitors. Each visitor will rent a room if there is a room available. If not, then they will leave. Possible they will go to the bar or lounge area and get a drink or some food, which also will generate revenue for the player. Including with that, I have integrated the day and night system from Cozy Weather, which is absolutely amazing. You can see here in the background. Don't mind the box floating around. That's the tooltip system I'm working on. Let's see the game before we do anything. So I got some of my own managers here. So I got one called AI manager. So let's say we want, yeah, let's just put in 10 AIs. So let's just see it before we actually go through what is going on in the scene. So here we have the player. The AI will be spawning eventually at the end, so we can just speed up the process and enter a number here. So you can see now they're spawning, they're walking around. At the top left, yeah, it's on purpose. I have the camera to clip through. You could actually prevent that by setting the camera not to clip through terrain. Main camera modes, third person. Clip through, you just avoid clipping. Then, of course, you have to reload for that. Then it will stop. It's turning dark now, very dark. As you can see, it's beautiful weather, this cozy weather system too. I really like that. And anyway, top left, let's go at the 1000 is the amount of gold or money or value the player has initially. The second one is the attractiveness of the hotel. Right now it's only showing for one room. Ideally it should be showing for all rooms, hotel in total. The face icon, let's just make sure we do transition, because it's not, there we go, much better. So the face icon top left here is should show the amount of guests. Right now I already could just extract the number from one of my managers. We have the AI manager, and I can see there are 10 NPCs right now in the level. NPCs are counting only the guests. It's not counting, let's say, the staff. So the idea is actually to hire some staff, like these two guys, to do some work to assist you. Otherwise you have to do it yourself. If I hit tab, I get the build menu from Easy Build System. So I'm building some categories. Main one is just the generic items. I just needed it for testing, right? Hit tab again, you go back to normal. So let's go into oh, we're blocked somehow. It's good, it's good. That tells me we need to troubleshoot something. Let's jump to the scene. Let's go in. We have the room here, and I'm pretty sure I got that here, room 1. So let's see what's going on. The box should be a trigger, so we should be able to pass through, but somehow we're blocked. Let's try again. Are we blocked here as well? Yep. So there's an invisible barrier. That's a mistake from my side. There shouldn't be an invisible barrier. That's fine, we can build here anyway. So when I click one of these buttons, of course I select the item I created. Red light in this case. Poster, another poster, outdoor street lamp. Beds you can only place in the room. Actually, I just realized something. Maybe it's the player, because I was experimenting with some trigger systems. So I might have added a collider to the player. We have our rigid body. I disabled anything. It should just be kinematic. Capsule collider. Let's just enable that to see. It shouldn't really be that. No, it's not. We'll look into that later. But as you can see, we're building. We are spending money top left, and our reputation or attractiveness of the hotel increase. Of course I will add some tooltip later. Also need to find out why it's so flakery when I move the mouse. The stars over here is the idea that eventually you will have 5 stars, and that will enable you to unlock a new level. On the right side I put in the edit, which allows me to move the items if you add a collider. So some of these items, like this lamp, I can't click it. I can click the poster, but not the lamp. Delete, then I can delete, right? We got a problem here, but let's just ignore that. That's one of the AIs. And you can see the tooltip state. That's not nice. So we have some minor issues we need to sort out. The AIs in themselves are basically just, well, it's similar to a final state machine. So if we select one of them, they should be down here somewhere in Do Not Destroy. Or we can take them from the AI manager. Select this guy. There we go. And we can see it's just a Game Creator 2 character. Sentry skeleton, Navmes agent, pivot delayed, with a box collider. So the box collider is, if you noticed, whenever I walk in front of one, they stop. And then they get new instruction or try to find a different path. It's just to prevent all this running into each other. But if we unfold the AI, then I have one called AI controller. Hopefully, it's not showing here. But initially we set them up with the basic state as walking, otherwise they will be running. The idle panel, as you can see here, just gives them the idle action. So I have one script on that's my own. That's called the individual AI setter. So it connects to the AI manager, and it gets a waypoint from the manager. All the waypoints are stored in the manager. And then I use game creator triggers to actually get a waypoint, set it in a waypoint list, also game creator. Then I have an action list. So when this triggers, we get a new waypoint from the manager. We set the waypoint, and then we tell the AI to move to this waypoint. And then we get a new waypoint immediately. And then it basically runs again. That's all. The last one is just trigger got to waypoint. Should we do something when he arrives? That's another thing I'm working on. So of course when they get a requirement to go and see one of these guys, we want to make sure they do some sort of action. So you can see I've set up triggers in front of the reception, in front of the bar, and dining area. Also at the entrance and exit we have some specific triggers where I will attach a script that will basically override game creator and take control and maybe give them some new actions or something. So of course when he's standing here to check in at the hotel, I want to make sure that this is happening. Maybe run an animation on both characters. And for that I got the hotel manager script, which checks our guests, which should go to menu, our attractiveness, and connects to the level manager. The level manager is connected to the rooms and tells the UI different information, what is required, what we actually have. Also the rooms, and each room has its own script that tells is there any player placed items in there. So if we go, so you can see placed a bed in there, gives us one bed with some attractiveness of 5, and we can see if the room is completed. Room completed means if all of these conditions are met, then it tells the hotel manager this room is at maximum. You can still add more, but it won't increase your attractiveness on the room. I can also see this room is occupied by an NPC. Same with this one. That means we don't have any more rooms, and tells new NPCs if they go to the reception and try to book a room, they will get notified there's no rooms, and then they will either leave the level or go and get some food or drinks. That's basically the game loop. So of course, to make that work, I think initially a lot of the questions was about the easy build system. So I think we'll go over that first. So I have my player character. We can make this big so you can see this is what we're focusing on. Under the player character, I have the player, which is added by game creator. This is just an empty game object, by the way. So the player itself is actually under that. Camera modes, and for this I added a build mode. It's a first-person camera that allows clip-through, but it's actually placed above the player. So when we use it, show. Now we're in third person. I hit tab. I go into build mode, so you can see it's actually above the player. But I cannot move, so if I use VSD, it's not reacting. I also turned down the sensitivity by a lot because I really only want to build in front of the character. You could of course increase this a lot and enable more rotation if you wanted to. I don't. So on my character, you can see I created a child called build mode toggle game creator trigger. It receives an input from the new input system that says player toggle build, and that's just I assigned the tab at the moment. So when you click tab, we change this boolean in a different, and then we run two conditions. One is check if build mode is active, basically if the boolean is true, and then we run if it's inactive, if the boolean is false, right? So in active mode, we check the variable, we enable build mode buttons. Yes, so that's a subchild of that child. You can see I got two. I tried a few different things, so this one is the one I'm using. And these are just the actions for enabling my build mode. So the first thing I do is I disable character controlling, means you can't move. You can still use the camera. We change the camera to the other one. Set active build mode to true. You can see we have this one, which basically just is a UI canvas, which we will show. And then I will set build manager to true, which is the easy build system manager. You can see it's right here. And actually I need multiple of these. I need one for each tab I have in my menu. So for example, in this tab, where are they stored? Down here. I have these items. In this tab I have these items. So basically when I switch tabs, I'm just switching between these two. And the final thing we do is I invoke some methods. So of course on the main camera, you can see I have this one, custom input, which is a script I can't remember what it's doing, so let's just open that up. But you can see I'm connecting to easy build system. So I'm pretty sure it's one of the easy build systems I just took out, renamed. Well, I didn't rename because then I would have a conflict. I took it out, copy paste into a new script and modified for my use, right? And it's still loading. So here we go. Yes, it is from the easy build system. It's just to enable or enable. And then I added these two. Enable destroy mode, enable edit mode, because I could not figure out by default how to enable these. So I added my own functions, which basically just called the instance of change mode to destruction or change mode to edit. Is there anything else we do here? Then we have the level manager, which is this one. It's calling enable all. Oh yeah, that's right. So I have this small script here. It's just a list of items I want to disable or enable whenever I'm changing. And you can see, for example, the rooms, by default they're disabled. And this is the, let's enable so you can see it. There we go. It's the room area from EBS, and this basically allows me to build different things here. So for now I've set the settings for the beds, so you can only place a bed in this area. The reason I moved it in from the edge and not all the way out, oh, over here it's actually all the way out, is so you can't place the bed through the wall. It will clip through if it's all the way out. So that is enabled. Camera field of view we changed to 76. Disable list. We also have a disable list. It's the same list. So I'm just calling if I want to enable or disable these via the events. And show hide cursor. Yes, we want to show the cursor. And basically when we want to switch back from build mode, hitting tab again, we do the same thing but in reverse. Let's see, are there anything else we're missing? So that's the UI. Let's take a look at that. Because the UI in EBS is quite important for building. It's the wrong way. Alright, so here we go. UI as we know it, and when we enable build mode we have this. There we go, so we get the menu. But as you can see, there's no sub items. And this system I took directly from a easy build system. Let's see, where is it? We have the menus, these icons. So basically whenever I hit one of these icons, you can see easy build system enable. So we enabled the easy build system manager, and we disabled the other one. So eventually as more icons will come, I need to add more to be disabled as we go. Clear grid, it's because this box area will be filled with icons if you have enough items, and every time you want to switch, I want to remove them. Otherwise, when I click, I will just be adding on top and it will be a very big list. And what do we have here? List item area, and it's unused. Let's see. Oh yeah. It's nothing. It's actually this build box you can see. Right? Build button template. When you get an easy build system and look at the, I think it's the real-time strategy system, you can see this one is placed inside the list area. It doesn't really matter where it is, you just need to make sure it's there. And we link it, because when we call a new menu, it requires an area where we can publish these. So in build mode you can see we have the button template, we just link the bottom, so it enables. So we have the button, the image for the sprite, or sprite for the item we want, and the bottom text below. But it's of course disabled because it's just a template. And then we link the area we want to the icons to appear in. So, and of course you adjust the button size and layout in the grid layout group. That's really it in terms of using easy build system with Game Creator. I'm still curious about the room and the blocking. So box collider, it's trigger. Room 2 trigger. Let's go and take a look. So room 1 is this one, and it needs a trigger because, or a collider, because this script I have here, we can take a look. I'm using this script to actually check items being placed by the player. So you can see on trigger enter we call update list, and down here we update the list. So basically we check how many, if there's more than 0 items placed by the player, possible other options later. Then we reset all the stats for the room, and then we count out the items, and for each item we'll add in what type of item it is. It's a rough template, right? Because there's a different or better way to calculate the items. I could just count, write it for each loop and count each item. Either way it works. And of course each item have a script on them. So we can see this is the script. So on each item I add this, and basically there's a checkbox, so I just check off what it is, the attractiveness, and I plan to also add the price here. Right now I have added the price inside easy build system, so I've modified a lot of the easy build system scripts to actually fit into this. Then I call the room status check, which is basically just how many items required total, how many items current, and then we calculate is the room complete or not. On trigger exit, if player placed, that means if you remove an item from the room, It can be either if you delete it or drag it out using edit. Trigger stay. It's just when we do the calculations, it's important we use trigger stay. If we use trigger enter, it will only happen once and we won't see it again. And we have a cleanup on late update. Basically, it checks if any game objects has been deleted and removed them from this list. So let's see. I still don't get why player is blocked here. Let's go and have a look again. It's an odd issue. We can still build. Yes, big red light outside. There we go, we're blocked. Let's get rid of that. Other screen. Let's see, scene. So the only thing let's enable touching everything. Click, click. Yeah, we can easily click through. Sometimes if you by accident, like a doorway, have a convex mesh, it will enable you to be blocked, but it doesn't look like that. Let's try to disable the door for a second. Yeah, so it's an issue with the that's like, you can see there is a square. Well, you can't see it, but I'm blocked in the center of the room here, so I need to find out why. Oh, I know why. I know why. That's just me being silly. One of the latest things I was working on last night was AI. So let's just park all that again. Let's go to the AI manager. Game, POIs. So we have room. So you can see I have these two colliders, which is meant for the NPCs to trigger, not the player. So let's just check the others. Yes, they also need to be triggers and not just a collider. Okay. Now it should work, actually. Let's do a test. Let's review. Oh, don't double click the play button. Really love cozy weather, it's nice. It's also cozy weather controlling the time we see upright. I have increased the time speed because I want to see the effects, right? We want to test things because I'm doing a morning call and an afternoon call to all the NPCs. So for example, in the morning, if NPCs are sleeping, I want to wake them up, and in the evening at some point I want them to go to bed. We'll take a look at that later. Let's try building. Attractiveness increased by 1, yes. So here we can see the bed. I can still clip it through, so I need to adjust my my room border for... well, let's actually try something, because I imagine if I can clip through, maybe I can touch 2 colliders from room 1 and 2. So if I place the bed here, it gives me 5. And if I place it... oh yeah, it works, so you can cheat. So that needs to be fixed. Let's go to the other side and see the collider issue. The reason I've chose to let the camera clip to the walls is because I want to add a see-through effect, right? So I want to dissolve the wall or make a hole so you can see the player through the wall. Very dark in here. Yes, so you can see the bed is actually sticking through. The idea is also to expand to this area, so usually when a player would start this a level, of course this is just my development level, I'll make something nice. I want to be able to let the player choose a wallpaper, a different menu, right? So you click maybe something and then you choose your wallpaper. I also want to enable the player to be able to decorate the open areas to allow them to customize, give it their own feeling, right? So you can see, yeah, we need to work on this. I was trying to use this plugin called Octave 3D Builder, but I'm not really happy with it. It looks great, but I still have some issues. So where did this guy go? Let's see. So you noticed a NPC in a security t-shirt walking around before, and there's only this guy right now. Oh, there he is. So this is one of the AIs I'm working on. The rest of them just have basic idle walk around. So this guy, he is the first one I'm trying to build into a guest. So let's take a look at him. So let's hide these. Save, because we changed the collider. You can see we have these areas or errors, and they are triggered by a script I'm working on. So that's the local area script. So the idea is when an NPC walks in here, if the NPC is also looking for reception, then this script will take control from a game creator and disable game creator on that NPC, and I will be able to let's say run the animations there or similar. Maybe in the future that will happen, we don't know. Of course we do. That is the idea, so we'll see. Right now there's no NPCs in the area because the area is this box. Local waypoints, I will add some local waypoints, not for this, because I'm using the same script for multiple items. So I will, if it was a room, for example, I would trigger to find, so if you have a bed here and a bed here, the beds will have waypoints attached to them, otherwise the AI won't be able to use them. So if I place a bed here or here, it should be completely free to the player where the bed is, but we still want the NPCs to actually go to the bed when he needs to go and sleep, right? So I will use the bed waypoints here. Things to override, so basically this will call items from the NPC when he walks into here, grab them and disable them or enable them. So the idea is when he enters, several things will be disabled on the NPC so he don't walk off. He does the interaction with this guy. Then they will be re-enabled, and then he will get a new target, which is most likely his room. And right now nothing is linked, so we will get an error. So, but we don't worry about that right now. So this is the NPC I'm working on, or the AI. So ideally you would use something like a final state machine, or what are they called? Behavior scripts. And there's some really nice ones. I just never got around to really play with them, so I have no idea. So instead I'm just writing some scripts to control him. Let's go over the AI from end to end. AI, basic game creator to character, not player. That's important. So we can see we have the character. It's not player. He's an AVMAS agent. Pivot delayed, otherwise they will look the wrong way when walking forward. I add the delay to 0.1 second or whatever we're measuring here, I'm not sure. Tooltip? No tooltip. Anyway, very short time. Animation, Cincy skeleton, because this is Cincy characters. I added a collider. So let's see, so you can see I have two colliders on him. This one is the small one. 0.1, it's inside him. And that's basically just for me to be able to trigger things around the area, but also to be able to grab this tag NPC when he walks into things and have things react. It does nothing else than enable us to use the on trigger enter and on collider enter. That's the only reason we have them. The same with rigid body. We don't need it. We only have it for that. That's also why his mass is basically 0. On start, whenever this is enabled, so when we spawn a new one, this one will run. We check the guy, we set his state to walking, otherwise they will be running. And then I have my controller script. So you can see there's a lot here. It's not really that bad. Under the controller script by default, we have some things, and I actually have Odin Inspector. I just never used it. Maybe I should use it and set this up nicer, but hey. Let's go with it. I will load it up in the background while we look to. So AI other menu. Does he have a room? Yes, no. By default, no. He gets a room from the reception. And when he gets a room, he gets the room script attached here. So the room script is also a custom script, right? His desires, these basically determine what he does, when he does it, or where he goes. So right now, because I'm debugging, his chance of sleep is 500. Usually I would probably just have it like 50. And then this would be enabled. If he needs to have a drink, this would be enabled. And these are important, not really here, because this is just for my debugging. If I were to make this into a game, you wouldn't see this, so yeah, no worries. So I can modify these at runtime. I set this to 500 because I'm working on this reception thing, so I want him to need sleep. And his happiness is 5. His minimum attractiveness requirement for a room is 10, so if the room is less than 10, he won't stay there. And then we have his current action. By default I set it to idle because this action, it's a string, determines which one we're using. So this is Unity events. So these Unity events are based on his action. We'll go over it in the script in a minute. If this one is checked, I have it here, so while I'm debugging and we're running, I can just click this and we'll get a new waypoint immediately to test a few things. Each event basically enables one other child and at the same time disables 4 other child. So you can see I have these children for different behaviors. So we have the idle, go to reception, go to bar, go to food, or leave the level. This is a stupid complex way to do it, but that's the way I'm doing it right now because I just find it easy to do it like this. And these of course are run from the script, which we'll see now. One more thing, at the bottom we have a connection to something called UIX. MV is just me, right? So UIX, UI level manager. So if I look in my managers, I have this one called UI and time manager. This is just for me to control information displayed to the player. So I want to see, it says title. I'm not sure what title it is. Oh, it's the old debug panel. I'm not using it anymore. So if we enable it, you can see here on the right. That is scrapped, so we don't use that anymore. Then I have the status bar. That's the top bar you see at the top. Gold, attractiveness, guest count. I will add soon star manager, so we can manage depending on the hotel attractiveness how many stars you will get. And of course the last one is time. Time is just measured as we get it as a string from Cozy Weather 2. I can show you Cozy Weather 2 has a really beautiful setup. So you can see we have a lot of things here, but this one called events, morning actions, afternoon actions, or evening. But here on the time, we actually see the time. So we run, this is running. Of course, my tick speed is very high. Normally you would have it around 0.5 maybe. So we can just do that. This is really nice to have access to because that means I can change the speed at runtime, which is also my idea. So if it becomes evening and annoying for the player, he will just go to his player bed and then will speed up the time until it's done. Back to the AI guy. So each of these is just game creator actions, which I both hate and like. I like it because it's relatively easy to set up and get something going, but at the same time it's really annoying because I'm using a lot of these extra children to remember the name. So you can see go for next waypoint holder, because I'm unable to name these in any way. I could maybe just write a new one that enabled the naming here at the title. Because if I have multiples of the same local list variable and I attach this one, which one is it then, right? So, yeah. So I actually created a child for each holder. No, we don't need to save that. And another child for the actions. Right now the action is just a debug. We don't need that. But for each of these actions, they are almost identical. We wait, get a waypoint, or store the waypoint, wait, no time, set the character waypoint, so we set the next waypoint, and then we tell the character to move to this waypoint. And we have checked wait to arrive, so it just stands here, and once it arrives, we do this. Let's say got waypoint to game creator. Yeah, maybe I need to work on the naming. And as you can see, these are all the same. The only thing that is different is this one. The purpose of getting the next waypoint. You can see this one is called get food. This one is just get exit. Bartender. Check in. Nothing. This is just a random waypoint. Because this actually allows me to check where the player is going and assign specific waypoints. Okay. Let's take a look at the script. So the entire menu we just went over is right here. No need to go over that again. So let's see. So we have our awake. The first thing we do is generate desire. And if we look here on the right, you can see the desires are right here. And the desires are based on the chances. So right now there's a 500 times chance that he needs sleep, then he needs drinks. Or you have 50 time, right? Or maybe 50%. Don't care, don't know. And then we connect the UI for the level UI manager. I'm actually curious, where do we use that? We don't use it. So just for the heck of it. Let's put a note in. Used. Oh, I got caps on. For what? Fix. Or remove. There we go. Next time we are messing with this. Generate desires calls generate desires. Yes, well, it seems silly, but the reason I have it here is this is a public void, so I'm actually calling this from the triggers, like let's say the receptionist, or when he's done getting his drink, he needs a new desire, so that's why I'm calling it here. And if we go down to with small letters, generate desires, so basically first thing we set all desires to false, then we start calling them. Need sleep, probability check, chance of sleep. So I input chance of sleep, which is 500 from up here, into this probability check. And probability check is down here. It's just a chance of getting true or false on the boolean. So of course, the higher the chance of it being true. Easy, right? Do we need sleep? Yes, no. If we don't need sleep, do we need drinks? Yes, no. If we don't need sleep and we don't need drinks, do we need food? Yes, no. If we don't need sleep, don't need drinks, don't need food. Ah, here we go. That is why. That is why we have it. Let's add a comment to that instead. Used to check if evening in generate desires condition to leave. There we go. Now we can remember that for the future. Perfect. So if we don't need these three things, then we will ask the UI controller, is it evening? If it's evening, yes, and he don't have a room, then we set the action to leave and he will find the exit point and leave the level. If it's evening and he has a room, we just put him to idle. I will later call from the time script all NPCs in level with a room, go to bed. That's the easiest way for me to actually send them all to bed, and then we will actually run the action. So this is just to generate the needs of the AI with the individual chance of each item, right? And finally, run the actions for the AI. It's so simple. It's just a switch case of the string, and then I run the events from the inspector, and that's why I'm using the event system, so I can just, if we send the idle command, he will do the events I have added in the inspector. So it's quite simple, and that's why we have such a long list of events. And then you might think, that's too hard on the computer. No, you can probably run this on an old phone. It's not a problem. So let's actually try to play with him and have this one locked so we can see what's going on with this guy. So there we go. We can see he needs sleep, so he will go to the reception. Get rid of that. But he didn't. He went somewhere else. Oh no. But he's tired. Let's see where he's going. He's going to waypoint 8. And if I find waypoint 8, it's back here. And well, that's the idea with a random generated NPC doing random stuff. We never know what he will be doing. So let's set this chance of sleep to 50 like everything else, and just click this button a few times. You can see over here these are flashing. And he went to reception. We get the error because I have not finished the reception trigger yet. So he will actually try to switch between. The idea is if it's not working, then he will just move on to the next one. Going to the bar, getting a drink, yes. And now he's, I guess he's done. Done with getting drinks. I noticed the AI controller has been disabled. And now he's just running on idle, and that's because we have this error down here. So when he left the trigger, it didn't re-enable. You can see it's been disabled. So if I re-enable, I can again issue things here. Leaving, let's try. Now he should be leaving. You can see the leave has been enabled over here. And that's random which way he chooses to exit, because the AI manager has some given waypoints I added. So you can see the enter-exit waypoints are these. I'm just curious. I want to see if he's despawning correctly. Yes, he's despawned. So each of these spawn points is basically, well, you could add some waypoints I'm not using because, again, it's the same script I'm using for everything else when it's local. But this one is just marked exit. And up here we got the exit point controller. which is your script. Come here. On trigger enter. If occupied, true. False, true. We're just checking if somebody's in there. And if there's an NPC inside the trigger, this will be true. If not, then no one. This is useful for the room manager, for the triggers, for the reception and the bar, but also when I'm spawning. So if we take a look at the spawner. So this is the spawner. You can see we have the desired admin set amount. On update, we actually call actual amount equals the amount counted in level. And we don't count them as finding them. We only count them when spawning or despawning. Otherwise, we will actually be using a lot of resources just counting NPCs. And you can see down here I'm adding morning and evening actions to all the NPCs. Getting waypoints from the waypoint list. So basically for these check-in, bartender and get food, we just go through the list, find one with the corresponding name, and then we check if the waypoint is occupied or not. If it's occupied, take another turn. If it's not occupied, then we return from here and leave this loop. And this is of course something I need to work more on, because this is also where I want to assign the current waypoint to the player, right? You can see we do it down here. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to do it. We'll find out someday. Exit waypoint. Get random range exit waypoints. Look at all the exit points. Choose one, go to it. Easy. Get a spawn point. This is when we are spawning NPCs. And this is the command for spawning NPCs. And you're not able to spawn it. I'm just checking if we are below or above actual amount. And this will soon also include time. So we will only spawn NPCs between 6 AM and, I don't know, 8 PM, something like that. And make sure the level is almost empty at night. Maybe the cleaning staff will be working there, so they will have an opposite spawning time than normal NPCs. But that's for a complete different script. That's for staff. So we can test how this works. I can do a run with this enabled. And this is also one of the recent videos I showed. So I'm standing right here. Let's annoy this guy. Yeah, go away. No. Okay. So I'm standing. Go away. Don't save. Just go away. So we have the amount. Currently, it's not increasing because I'm overriding it. But let's say we want 100 NPCs. So now it's spawning 100 NPCs. From both sides, and they are all doing their own thing. And always when we add so many NPCs, it's always good to keep stats open, so you can see 40 FPS. Yeah, it's going. Let's add more. What are we up to? 200 now. $294 NPCs, and it's lagging. It's not bad. It's it's definitely not great, and clearly there's an issue with the door. A lot of people want to go in. But here's the funny thing. So ideally they are also checking for other NPCs. So whenever a NPC is in front of them, then they will try to get a new waypoint. But considering there's less than 20 waypoints in this level, this is clearly a problem. the lower the number, then more and more NPCs will start to get the leave command issued, and then they will start leaving the level instead of just despawning them. So eventually they will start moving to the exit areas and simply just leave. We could also just change. Let's try it. But this list is not related to actual. So when you change the list, you can see it just spawns additional. But basically, the AI manager works. Hotel manager is a work in progress because I need to count people checking in. But before I can count people checking in, I need to make sure the reception works, which means I need to make sure the AI guy works on the reception so he can actually check in. Audio manager is just to control the audio mixer, right? So we can set up different sound levels for different things. So build sound, player sound, ambience, weather, music. UI manager we already went over. Player manager. Probably more things will be added because the idea is you unlock stuff, right? So I need some way to control what has been unlocked, what has not, what level has the player unlocked, and etc. etc. That will go here. Level manager, that will be a new one. Well, it will be the same script on each level, right? But it will be new on each level, unique to each level. So I will not prefab it. I will copy this folder to each level to make sure these settings I set are unique to each level. And then people start screaming, oh, you should serialize, etc, etc. Sure, maybe. We'll do that one day, if we make it into a game. Again, this is just a prototype, it's just for fun. Chill. Alright, I hope this was understandable. I will upload this as a video as well for you on YouTube. Let me know if there's anything else or if we should dive into some details of something of this issue right now. Thanks for watching.